reading off.
The dates for
I don't know.
I saw them on the, I was going to write them down.
They're on the webpage.
Oh, there she is.
Yeah,
I think it's the end of this month is when it starts.
the cleanup.
You know the dates for the cleanup?
The cleanup, do you remember?
It starts?
Yes.
Yeah.
All three? Okay.
It starts
That's
It's like
like that end of September,
Yeah, I know
beginning
it's
of
coming up.
October.
Oh, I know, like my neighborhood,
Mine's always
it's like
first.
October 1st.
Mine's always
Yeah.
the first day. So I need to get it out next week. And
Should be. Maybe it loses some.
good afternoon. Today is the day of our regularly scheduled commission meeting. Madam Clerk, do we have a quorum?
Yes, Mayor.
Today it is Commissioner Unruh's turn to do the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. So please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was.
So let's pray. Father, we come to this day. We are so grateful to be gathered here doing the city of Garden City. And today, Father, as we do the business of the city, we ask for your wisdom and your guidance. We are so grateful for the way in which you are blessing our city and causing not only us, but all those around us to prosper. Help us to remember, Father, all of those in need and give us a willing heart to help those, Father, who need guidance and direction. Today, we are so thankful that you are protecting our first responders, the police, the fire department, Father, the sheriff and the EMTs, and Father, thank you for you being on the front lines with them. Now today we thank you for all that you're doing. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I think today was probably the best Pledge of Allegiance ever had, so thank you. Yes. We love it. So next up then is approval of the minutes. Are there any changes or corrections? Okay, if not, then they stand approved. Next up is public comment. This is a time for anybody to come up and talk about anything that is not on the agenda. You will have 5 minutes, and when you do come up, please state your name. All right, thank you.
No,
Oh,
okay.
we are ready.
Item 6A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a request from Ms. Kayla Drake, fifth grade teacher at St. Dominic School, and the William Wilson chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution, to allow the mayor to proclaim the week of September 17th through 23rd, 2023 as Constitution Week in Garden City, Kansas.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the proclamation as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Would you like to come up and talk a little bit about it? And then what we'll do is we'll do a quick picture with everybody after I read the proclamation. Or if you want to do it before. It's. And you don't have to either, but we do need you just to come up here.
Okay. So the fifth grade students at St. Dominic's have prepared a little something. We have learned the preamble to the Constitution.
Yes, all right.
So, all right, you guys ready? Okay, raise your signs. Three, two, one.
We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote
Well, I don't know if I'll be able to do as good of a job reading the proclamation as that, but the pressure is on, right? Was there anything that anybody else would like to say about this before anyone from the Daughters of American Revolution? No? Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll read the proclamation then. So whereas it is a privilege and duty of the American people to commemorate the 236th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through 23rd, 2023 as Constitution Week. Now therefore I, Deborah Euler, Mayor of the City of Garden City, Kansas, do hereby proclaim September 17th through the 23rd, 2023 as Constitution Week in the City of Garden City, Kansas, and encourage our citizens to study the Constitution and reflect on the privilege of being an American with all the rights and responsibilities which that privilege involves. Signed and sealed this day, 19th of September, 2023. So if you'd like, we can come up and do a picture. All of us? Yes, I think so. It's like church.
Okay, so this is the back. Okay. Yeah, yes, the tall one. Yes, light up. Yep, you want. We asked for this, now we have to go.
It's called responsibility, right? On back.
Okay, everyone find a window.
Lean on me, friend.
I think we need to have them show up every meeting to do the pledge.
Do the pledge. Yeah.
Just have them come every first and third Tuesday.
That's a lot of energy.
That is the best.
Mayor and Commissioners, item 6B, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a request from Shannon Ulrich to allow the mayor to proclaim October 15th, 2023 as International Wave of Light Day.
I move that we approve the proclamation for the International Wave of Light Day on October 15th, 2023.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And Shannon, would you like to come up and say something? And then after you do, we'll read the proclamation, and I'm assuming you want a picture, or do you want at the event?
I actually submitted 2 proclamations.
Yes,
So,
right.
This one for the Wave of Light, we would like to have at the event.
Okay,
And then the other one here, if you guys
sure.
ask.
Yep, we can certainly do that.
So, in 2016, our daughter Faith Millie was stillborn, and at that point in time, I learned that there were no resources in this area. The closest ones to us were Wichita, Denver, Amarillo. And so my husband and I set out to change that. And over the past 7 years, we have networked with so many organizations here in town. Russell Child Development, Live Well, the Community Breastfeeding Coalition, and numerous other ones. And thankful for them, we are building and we are expanding. And this year is our 5th annual Wave of Light. And so that is big for us. And so we decided to come and request these because 1 in 4 women suffer miscarriage or loss. And so many families suffer in silence. And we want them to know that they are not alone and that there are other people here in our community and that this matter is important and it matters to our community.
Definitely. Thank you so much. So I will read this one at the event then?
Yes.
And, okay, and then we have the next one.
We could consider the next one and then
Yeah.
take one picture?
Yep, that would be great.
Item C, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a request from Shannon Ulrich to allow the mayor to proclaim October 2023 as Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month.
I'll make the motion that we approve the proclamation as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So I'll go ahead and I'll read this, and then we can get a picture. Okay? So whereas, in 1988, President Ronald Reagan proclaimed October as National Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month and encouraged the people of the United States to observe this month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. And whereas pregnancy is usually a time of excitement and expectation as parents prepare for the arrival of their baby. And whereas, tragically, approximately 1 in 4 women in the United States suffers a miscarriage, stillbirth, or infant loss. Many of these parents live in, deliver in, have a child die in, or have buried a child in our community. And whereas such death has occurred through miscarriage, ectopic pregnancy, molar pregnancy, stillbirth, neonatal death, birth defects, sudden unexplained death of a child, sleep-related deaths, including sudden infant death syndrome, illness, accidents, and all other types of infants and early childhood death. And whereas the loss of a child is a traumatic and heartbreaking event, as families recognize that even a short life is impactful, and the grief of those who mourn the loss of these lives should be remembered by a compassionate public. The observance of Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month aims to provide some comfort to those who have lost a child through miscarriage, ectopic pregnancy, stillbirth, infant loss, or other complications. And whereas Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month in October calls attention to how, as individuals and a community, we can help meet the needs of bereaved mothers, fathers, and family members, and work to recognize grief and to honor the courage of families who have lost a child. Now, therefore, I, Deborah Euler, Mayor of the City of Garden City, Kansas, do hereby proclaim October 2023 as Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month in Garden City, Kansas, and encourage parents, caregivers, and all residents to become educated in opportunities to prevent pregnancy and infant loss and support bereaved families when prevention is not possible. Signed and sealed this 19th day of September 2023. So we'll go ahead and we'll get a picture. Okay.
Taking more action. Item D, the governing body is asked to consider and approve event requests from Leave a Legacy Foundation for the 2023 Leave a Legacy 5K Walk Run. These requests include a waiver of fees associated with the closure of public vehicle access to Lee Richardson Zoo from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m., and a waiver of the sign ordinance to hang banners on the zoo fence and on the corner of Mary Street and Pearly Jane.
I move that we approve the request for the 2023 Leave a Legacy 5K Walk Run.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item E, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a request for signs to be located in the city right-of-way on Kansas Avenue from Campus Drive west to 2nd Street, on the Friends and Frogs area at 3rd Street and Kansas Avenue, and on Main Street and Isabel Street for a peddler's market from October 23rd through 29th, 2023.
I'll make the motion to approve the request to authorize signs to be placed in the right-of-way of Kansas Avenue and Campus Drive west to 2nd Street, 3rd Street and Kansas Avenue, and Main Street and Isabel Street.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Is this something we've done before, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We've done- okay.
Yep, it is. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Report of the city managers limited to the zoo staff report. If you've got questions on that, we'll try to answer those. If not, call your attention to the meetings of note, those requiring RSVPs. Please do so through Selan or Corey. I think we're ready for 9A, and if approved, that's the appropriation ordinance. If approved, the appropriate ordinance number would be 2587-2023A.
Mayor, I move that we approve appropriation ordinance number 2587-2023A.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve the following ordinance regarding 2023 public streets, parks, cemetery improvements, and land acquisition. If approved, it would be ordinance number 2966-2023. Jared?
Good afternoon. As part of the budget process, we talked about some of those projects that would be outside the budget and go through GEO bond issuance, so the time has come to get the ball rolling on that. To cover the costs of the projects identified, will be issuing general obligation bonds. The first step in the process to issue debt is to approve an ordinance to authorize the project. The authority for this authorization is through KSA 12-685 to 12-690, inclusive the Trafficway Act, which authorizes the city of Garden City to construct improvements to designated city streets and to issue general obligation bonds to the city to pay the costs of the improvements. Article 12, Section 5 of the Kansas Constitution, the Home Rule Amendment, the city is authorized to determine its local affairs and government except when limited or prohibited by enactment of the state legislature applicable uniformly to all cities of the same class. And the Charter Ordinance number 31 of the city and Charter Ordinance 31 authorizes the city to issue its general obligation bonds to pay the cost of constructing and improving public parks in an amount not to exceed $2,500,000 in any calendar year without a vote of the electors of the city. So the alternatives before you today are the governing body may approve the ordinance as presented and provide staff with direction regarding the total amount of funding desired from the GEO bond issuance. Or number two, the governing body may defer to a later date. Staff recommends the governing body approve the ordinance authorizing the projects to be included in the 2023 general obligation issue. This sets the limits for those projects, but the actual amount will be designated later as we have more detailed accounting of what each of those is going to take. But this kind of just gets that initial ball rolling to authorizing the project so that we can initiate the process for getting the GEO bond going. And as a fiscal note, the debt service for this was incorporated in our 2023-2024 budget, and it's paid out of the bond debt service fund.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion, we approve ordinance 2966-2023.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item B, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a tree nuisance resolution. If approved, it would be resolution number 3041-2023.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. So I've got several of these today, either nuisances or motor vehicle. This one here is the tree nuisance located 1005 North 5th Street. In the backyard, there's a dead or deceased tree. We have notified the residents of that on June 19th and June 24th of this year. The residents asked for an extension, which was granted. They asked for that on August 8th. August 24th, still no abatement or nothing was taken care of with the tree. And so the alternatives today are to approve the attached resolution, which will allow us to abate that. And number 2, governing body may not approve the attached resolution. Staff recommends the governing body approve the attached resolution, and any costs associated with that abatement will be assessed to the property.
Any questions?
This is kind of different from what we've done normally, correct? Can you kind of just give us what anticipated costs would be associated with this to the owner, or what? Because I know like it kind of varies on a lawn. If say like nuisance of weeds, the contractor has their own kind of, well, I guess they don't have their rate. The city has the rate, correct?
Correct.
What is that rate for a tree? Is it similar?
Not sure. The ones that I've been involved with have been due to public safety. And so the city has helped remove those dead trees. This is the first one I've been part of.
Okay. Me too.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 3041-2023.
I'll second.
It's been moved and second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Trent, I do have a question. So just for all of these, I had a homeowner, they got a letter and they've abated everything that they needed to do. Do they need to contact you? And I said, I thought you came back and re-inspected, but they were asking me if they needed to re-contact you, that they had done that, or what's the procedure?
It depends. If it's part of the first or second notification, then no, because we're going to go back out and
Okay.
inspect it. If it's after this motion and before the contracted crew goes to abate it, it would be helpful. So we can go earlier, save them the trip of going by and those things are.
Okay, thank you.
Item C, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a motor vehicle nuisance resolution that would abate the situation at 1906 A Street. If approved, it would be Resolution 3042-2023.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution number 3042-2023.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item D, the governing body is asked to consider a motor vehicle nuisance resolution which would abate conditions at 911 Pearl Street. If approved, it would be resolution number 3043-2023.
Make a motion to approve resolution 3043-2023.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item E, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a motor vehicle nuisance resolution, which if approved would be resolution number 3044-2023, abating conditions at 403 Davis Street.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution number 3044-2023.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item F, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a motor vehicle nuisance resolution. If approved, it would be resolution 3045-2023, abating conditions at 2103 A Street.
Make a motion to approve resolution 3045-2023.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item G, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a motor vehicle nuisance resolution, which if approved would be resolution 3046-2023, abating conditions at 202 South 2nd Street.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution number 3046-2023.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item H, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a environmental nuisance resolution, which if approved would be 3047. Is that correct?
Yep.
3047. And abate conditions at 304 North 3rd Street.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution number 3047-2023.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item I, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an environmental nuisance resolution, which if approved would be resolution number 3048-2023 and abate conditions at 163 Shamrock Street.
Make a motion to approve resolution number 3048-2023.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item J, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an environmental nuisance resolution, which if approved would be resolution 3049-2023 and abate conditions at 208 Wesley Street.
Make the motion to approve resolution number 3049-2023.
I'll second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item K, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an environmental nuisance resolution. If approved, it would be resolution 3050-2023 and abate conditions at 202 South 2nd Street.
Make a motion to approve resolution 3050-2023.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And item L, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an environmental nuisance resolution, which if approved would be resolution number 3051-2023 and would abate conditions at 601 East Maple Street.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution number 3051-2023.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trent.
You know, to a lot of the residents out there, we do have upcoming in about 2 weeks our fall cleanup. It might be something, I know our city staff does a really great job of promoting that and getting that information. I've already seen it, but it would be good that they start kind of collecting those items so that we don't have to go through this process or have our neighborhood and development visit with these people. This is why we have the neighborhood, I'm getting on a soapbox here, but this is why we have the cleanup process in the spring and the fall to help with these types of conditions that we don't have to go through this process. But again, that's starting October 2nd, October 2nd, and it goes for 2 weeks, and it's in different areas of the town. So just please take advantage of it. That's what it's for, and it's trying to keep our community nice. Sorry for stepping out of order,
all right.
Mayor, but
Thanks.
I know it's kind of important as we go through this process.
Item 12A, the governing body is asked to consider a late application for the Neighborhood Revitalization Program on behalf of Tetro Plumbing for 1413 West Thompson Street. And Trent, go ahead.
I'm filling in today, but very, very good to do it. So this is on behalf of Tetro Plumbing for 1413 West Thompson Street. A little bit of background to this project. According to the criteria for determining the eligibility of the Neighborhood Revitalization Program, the applicant must complete the application for the tax rebate within 180 days of the issuance of a building permit. A building permit for a commercial remodel located at 1413 West Thompson Street was issued on April 9, 2021. The project costing $2.437 million meets a minimum investment of $10,000 to qualify for the program. It is under the $2.5 million maximum investment threshold. The project received a temporary certificate of occupancy on March 14th of 2022. There are still outstanding items related to the drainage that are required before the certificate of occupancy will be granted. Over the past 10 years, there have been seven late requests for the NRP brought before the governing body. I can go through those, but it's kind of a mix. Almost half and half were approved or denied. Some may be based on days that were past the due date of determining that. The application request was submitted 695 days after the deadline. The alternatives today, alternative number 1, the governing body may approve the proposed request to submit a late application for the Neighborhood Revitalization Program. Number 2, the governing body may not approve the proposed request to submit a late application for the Neighborhood Revitalization Program. Staff is unable to make a recommendation as this request exceeds the guidelines for the Neighborhood Revitalization Program. The fiscal note, if alternative number 1 is chosen, 75% of the increase in annual property tax will be rebated back to the property owners for for the next 7 years. No fiscal note is associated with alternative number 2. And we do have representation from Tatro Plumbing here today that would like to also speak. If you have any questions for me, I'm doing my best to answer.
Okay. If you could state your name for the record.
My name is Rob Kreitzer, fellow owner of Tatro Plumbing. First, I'll apologize for the misunderstanding of this process. We were aware of the process, or we were aware of the availability of these funds, tax abatements. Had visited with multiple individuals through our design team and through the city, and where our issue or my misunderstanding was that we had to present this before certificate of occupancy. And so that's the reasoning that we're coming at this time. As Trent was saying, we're finalizing some odds and ends, design issues that we had, issues with, or that we're correcting to finally get the last few items checked off the list. The main item that we're still working our way through and have been for several months is our retention pond as we contain our own water. It's been a good problem to have that we continue to get rain. The problem is that we can't repair our pond when it's half full or better with water. But, to go back a few steps, we went back through in 2020, and we were located in the county just north of town, and were notified that we were needing to move from our facility that had been purchased, and that the individuals that had purchased it wanted to occupy the entire building, and that they would give us some time, but we needed to go build a new structure, or needed to relocate at least. We have an office in Garden City and in Colorado Springs. We looked at both locations, trying to figure out where to build our fabrication shop, and ultimately, with local realtors, decided to purchase selected a lot in Garden City in the northwest portion of town, and work through the design team to go through and start building that. We are in our building now, and again, just trying to go through and work our way towards our certificate of occupancy. When we purchased our land, December of 2020, we went through and had a prorated tax rate. December 2021 was our first tax bill from the city of Garden City, and the taxes on that lot was $6,100. We went through and started construction, started getting our shop rounded up. December of 2022, we still were not in our shop, but was getting close. Or I take that back, we were in our shop in 2022. Our notice for tax bill in that year that would be moving forward was $67,362. Now, moving forward, we've received our notice for taxes that will be going in 2023, and those taxes will be $120,488. So ultimately, where we have come from buying a piece of land that was flat and available in town that was generating $6,100 in taxes, will now be paying $120,488 in taxes starting this next year. We appreciate your listening to me at least, and understand that you have a tough job. Impact, Tatro, we currently have 106 employees, and approximately 80 of those employees live in Garden City and the surrounding area. But again, I'll answer any questions, or try to answer any questions that you may have, but I appreciate you listening to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
So I have a question for Trent. So all the other ones that are listed here, are they, well, I guess there's one that's a commercial, and then this is this the one that's is unique being commercial, or, and I didn't realize that commercial also eligible for that program, but
Yeah, we have 3 commercial, out of the list, out of the 7, there's 3 that are.
There were 3.
Commercial.
Okay.
But yeah, both residential and
Oh, I
commercial
see.
based on the area, the criteria is slightly different. The commercial valuation basis versus residential is a different valuation system.
Well, thank you for continuing to do business here. I mean, no matter.
Any other questions?
I mean, is this discussed with, I mean, we brought it up before about people being confused about this particular thing because of some of the deadlines that we receive coming, 1, 2, almost 3 years later, coming to us, asking us for approval on this. And I know we've asked before, is this something that is brought up in the discussion, that the contractors or the builders know that it's there and that the 180-day deadline is in effect? I guess it's...
When the application's filled out, I would say yes. I would say managing probably that application through the end of it, probably not as much unless you have a team member on your development team that is super sensitive to those requirements and making sure it's completed. Staffs-wise, we don't, once they submit their application, we don't monitor at that point where it goes. We monitor the permit, but we're not calling them or notifying them, immediately after, in this case, after the temporary was issued, that the days are expired.
Thank you.
I know of only one other instance that was a discrepancy on, I think the pamphlet or the little brochure that came out had 90 days on it, and it's originally supposed to be 180 days, so if people had that question, that came up before, but it strictly states that it's from the permit, from pulling the permit, not, it doesn't say anything about certificate of occupancy, so.
Yeah, I think, just speaking about this project and probably others, it's critical on the team member, because I'm sure as far as the owners go and those managing it, they want to see their building completed and finished. And then when you receive that tax increment increase or whatever, I think that's when things, and I'm not speaking for them, but it gets easy to lose it when you're just focusing on
Building.
Working and so forth. So.
If I can, one.
Sure, yeah, come on up.
Sure.
If we'd been past our certificate.
Come up to the mic, please. Thank you.
If we'd been past our certificate of occupancy, we wouldn't even have been here. I guess it's, and again, it's my mistake, it's my issue, but I guess that's the defining factor that we're looking at, so.
Sure. Thank you.
I think I have the understanding of when people come up and ask for the variance. I appreciate you, Rob, coming in, and you've got rules in your business, and same thing with the city. They've got rules, and some of those rules are meant to be followed. So I think in my eyes, I think with just this statement, I think I'd make the motion to not approve the proposal.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you for coming.
Item B, the governing body is asked to consider and approve the Walk-On Restaurant located at 1230 East Kansas to open and operate before final acceptance of the required infrastructure. The business does not have a temporary certificate of occupancy. The business does have a temporary certificate of occupancy that allows them to open and operate the business.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. On July 7th, 2022, the governing body approved an amendment to the Lasting Legacy Development Agreement. This amendment allowed the developer to start the construction of buildings before the completion of the infrastructure improvements. However, the very wet spring and this summer's almost daily rain events, in conjunction with the backorder of materials needed for the infrastructure, has caused delays in the completion of the infrastructure improvements that were required in the development agreement. As of September 11th, 2023, over 90%, 95% of the required infrastructure improvements have been completed and are scheduled to be completed no later than December 31st, 2023. The Walk-On Restaurant is scheduled to open on October 1st of 2022, and they've requested to do so under the temporary certificate of occupancy while the remaining infrastructure is completed. However, they cannot receive the final certificate of occupancy until the required infrastructure has been completed and accepted by the governing body as outlined in the development agreement and agreed to in the amended development agreement. City staff has met and is in support of the builder's request as long as there is a cutoff date of December 31st, 2023 as to when the final CO has to be issued or the business will be required to stop its business activities until the final CO can be obtained. This is being brought to the attention of the governing body because the request falls outside the language provided in the approved development agreement, and so that you are made aware of the situation. The governing body, your options or alternatives are that the governing body may agree to the December 31st, 2023 closing or deadline of the business to obtain its certificate of occupancy, or the governing body may not agree to the December 31st, 2023 deadline for the business to obtain its certificate of occupancy. Staff recommends alternative 1, agree to the December 31, 2023 deadline for the business to obtain their certificate of occupancy. There's no financial impact to the city to do this. And just as a note, the infrastructure that has not been completed yet is the sidewalk along Kansas Avenue. That needs to be torn out and replaced. And then there's 3 panels next to the entrance and the walk-ons and the Starbucks coffee that need to be taken out and replaced. In visiting with the contractor, they believe they'll have that work done within the next 30 to 40 days.
So is that stuff that was laid once and didn't meet requirements and?
Yeah.
Okay.
Missed the concrete requirements. There was too much air in concrete, so it failed. And they did offer, they could offer a long-term warranty period for the concrete, but how do we enforce that?
Yeah.
Right.
Down the road? So, we staff felt it was best to just go ahead and replace it and be done with it. They were made aware of this back in March of this year as well, so it's not a surprise to them.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate you letting us know that the contractor is aware of the deadline and that they think they can complete it, because I think that would be, an integral part of whether or not this would really work, so. Well, I move that we approve.
I was just going to ask, this wouldn't impede, like, if people get coming or going into and out from businesses, would it be any sort of a liability?
The entrance off of Kansas Avenue, there's 2 lanes on one side and there's a barrier, and there's 1 lane. When they have to close down that one, there's still room to have 2-way traffic.
Okay.
So traffic will still be able to get in and out. We did visit with the fire marshal as well to make sure that he was okay with that. And he didn't have a problem with it as long as the building itself met all of the required codes, which they have.
Okay.
So Mayor, I'd offer to go ahead and agree to the December 31st, 2023 deadline for the business to obtain its certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor and Commissioners, you're asked to consider and approve naming up to 4 voting delegates for the League of Kansas Municipalities 2023 Annual Conference. Doesn't appear anybody's presenting this, but there's 3 of you, I believe, registered to go to the conference. You could name those persons. I don't know that it is exclusively elected officers. It can be appointed officers of the city, which would include city staff attending. But the business portion of the meeting is held, I believe is it the final morning of the conference?
Sealand is just.
Hello. Yes, right now we have 3 commissioners attending. We have Mayor Euler, Commissioner Unruh, and Commissioner Cessna, and then myself. As far as I know, that's all we have attending conference. And yes, the lunch meeting is on Monday at noon.
Is there a benefit to having more delegates? I mean, do we get to any voting that really would make a difference between having 3 or 4?
No.
No.
It's a
Okay.
voice
Usually a
vote in a
voice.
hall
Right.
with
Okay.
Yeah.
a few hundred people in it.
Yeah. All right. Will I make a motion to approve Mayor Euler, Commissioner Cessna, and Commissioner Unruh as voting delegates for the 2023 annual business meeting?
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item D is the consent agenda. There's 2 items on there, so we can pull those off and discuss them if there's something you'd like to discuss, or you can, the appropriate motion would be to approve item D1 through 2 if you want to leave it as is.
I move that we approve item D1 and 2.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Right, next up is commission reports. Commissioner Unruh.
So I was usually expecting to follow Commissioner Dick, and so I usually was going to lead off of some of the great things usually he talks about. I would just to follow up with Commissioner Cessna's. I know that not only is the spring and the fall cleanup, which are really important to the city, but also down at Lee Richardson Zoo, there is a place if you have branches or all those kind of things and you're doing cleanup that they'll actually meet you there. I think that it's open at 8:30 and 1:30, or you can do it by appointment. So, I mean, I think there's every effort to really make sure that some of these things that come before us on those don't have to happen. But it's a really, I think it's a really neat opportunity for us to keep our city not only looking well, looking clean, but also just a gift to the city for the things that we can take care of. I was super excited to see the St. Dominic's 5th grade class. Wow, I was blown away not only by the Pledge of Allegiance, but by also their recitation. And so I really appreciated them coming today, and it was really great to see them. And the Daughters of the American Revolution, that's really always neat. There's been lots going on in Garden City, and I'm going to tell you, every weekend from now, I think until, well, probably past Christmas, is full. But last weekend was a tremendous opportunity. If you missed Fall Fest, well, I'll tell you, that was a standout event. We kind of have some guessing on numbers, and we're going to wait for others to kind of give us the actual totals. But it was really the events that have taken place lately. I do want to just remind you that I know that it's darker longer, and this morning I was driving along and someone pressed the flashing lights, which are really great at especially crossing the 2 of our trails, the Tally Trail and the Pioneer Trail. Just remember again, when those flashing lights are, that means stop. That doesn't mean go through really quick and make sure you don't hit anybody. But I know, especially with kids walking to school in the dark, and also there's lots of activities and lots of really cool things coming up. League of Legacy race is coming up, and we're excited about that. I'm going to be running with my son's dog. I have to say it's his dog, but I'm excited about that. But I'm going to tell you, there's some really neat things coming up. But just to be careful and be safe-minded. And when those are flashing, make sure you stop. That's all I have.
All right, Commissioner Cessna.
Great pre-meeting this morning on the electric service utilities and kind of that review and giving us a good idea of kind of the direction we need to go. So very informative. And yeah, like Commissioner Unruh was saying, a very busy weekend this last weekend. Kansas Bikers backing our Blue Ride. That was an awesome event to see. Fall Fest was well attended. The motorcycle cannonball race. It was interesting. You walked, we went by the Clarion, and they were tearing their motors out of the motorcycles. Some of them were rebuilding them. It was quite interesting to see, but it was great to have them come through our community, kind of like the Great Race, and have people like that visit our community. Wanted to mention right quick that coming up on Sunday, the 24th, is the Homecoming Parade, and that's for the start of our Homecoming Week events for the high school. And then the Friday of Homecoming, we'll have the GCK Proud event in Stevens Park from noon to 12:30. That's where the high school cheerleaders and drumline and band will be there to have a pep rally for the community. And then the community college usually shows up behind us and has their pep rally for their home game. And then I'd just ask everybody to come out and support our students at the football game that evening for the homecoming events. And that's all I've got.
All right, Commissioner Ortiz.
All right, mine's kind of short. I just wanted to thank St. Dominic's for coming and joining us this morning. That was great. Also, Shannon Ulrich, that's an amazing thing that she started up, and that's something that thinking outside of the box. That's what makes a person to be challenged and to come up with something that's great for everybody to support, and that's just awesome. So thanks to her for starting that. Just also thanks for all the staff and everybody organizing and getting things done in the city. It's a huge city, and we're growing, and it takes everybody to kind of work together and support one another. So I just like to stretch that support onto everyone. So thank you.
Commissioner Dick.
Well, I think we should make a rule that we always have to have a class of elementary students, at least for the pledge.
I agree.
That was really cool to have. Great pre-meeting. I'm glad to hear that it seems like everything that we've been doing is working in a good direction and in the correct direction, and things we can build on for the future. Like they said, like Mike said during the meeting, if we weren't growing, we wouldn't really have to worry about this and have to do this sort of planning. But since we are, and we just want to keep on going, these are the kinds of things that we need to do to make sure we can ensure to do that. Like the other commissioners said, we had great turnout for a community Mexican fiesta, really good for the parade, and I was with the mayor on that one there, so good job to Angelica and everybody else who puts that together. Same thing about Fall Fest, great turnout with everything that went on there, especially having the chamber wine tasting that night as well. I mean, a packed day. Good job to Janet and Leandro and everybody else who had to do that, and especially with the city staff that it takes to put up flags and do the barricades and all those other things. I mean, that's taking up their time so that the community can have an event on a weekend. They're taking up their weekends working. So thank you to everybody who does all that. And I had some really good conversations during Fall Fest, and you'll be surprised how many people watch our meetings online.
Oh, yes.
It's really surprising, actually. So I talked to somebody, and they said, you know what? I thought you were taller. So I'd like to thank Mike for all the awards that he wins. So we stand up there to give that impression. And last thing is just remember, November 7th is a vote. It's not a state election. It's not a presidential election. It's a city election. And those are the ones where your votes really do make a difference. So make sure you put that on your calendar and get out and vote that day. That's all I got.
All right. Your chair is just up higher.
It is a little bit higher, too.
Yeah, that's right. Good pre-meeting. It's always interesting to be able to learn, kind of take a deep dive into the electrical grid and just everything that goes into it. It's one of those things where you look at it and the lights just come on, and when they're supposed to, and when they don't, we get kind of, upset. But just knowing that there's more to it, but then also just thinking long-term about what we need to do with a growing city, and thinking about some of those decisions today really do matter. And it also, I think about budgeting season, and sometimes when we are looking at doing a budget, it isn't just about doing a budget for this next year. It's really thinking through 10, 15, 20, 30 years into the future, and kind of having that crystal ball and trying to figure it all out. And so having just that deep dive into that one piece of it was really, I really appreciated that. So thank you for doing that. Great Fall Fest and wine tasting attendance. I had a good time with Commissioner Dick at the Fiesta Parade, and then afterwards reading the proclamation. And that park was packed at Stevens Park. I mean, there was a lot going on. And if you've never been to the Fiesta celebration, I would encourage people to go to that, because it's celebrating a part of Garden City's heritage. This is the 97th year of celebrating that. And so it's just remarkable to me. I also had an opportunity last week to visit with the fourth graders at Florence Wilson. And I had such a good time with them, because each class brought 10 questions, and there's 3 classes, and so 30 questions, and it was rapid fire, and it was quite interesting. First of all, they were surprised that the mayor's a girl, and they clapped. I mean, so I thought that was something. But it was really fun to be able to talk to them about the importance. I talked to them about the importance of a local election and how your vote really does matter. We just talked a lot about, different aspects of the city. They gave really good insight into what they'd like to see at the skate park and at the pool. Those were two very big concerns for them. And so it was a lot of fun, and I'll relay that, to Tisha later, that conversation. But it just kind of, warms your heart to think that you've got, fourth graders, and then today with the fifth graders who really do value and like learning about government and like, meeting us and meeting people. And so I just thank those classes for taking part in that. I also had an opportunity to watch the Garden City versus Ulysses soccer game, the adult soccer league last week, and presented the trophies because it was a championship. And so that was a lot of fun to be able to do that and get to watch a soccer game locally. And so I thank Oscar for inviting me for that. Overall, it's really been a really good week, and look forward to fall cleanup. And so with that, I will close this meeting. Thank you.